Humble greetings to all my dear viewers. The topic that I'm going to discuss here is going to focus all about the Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine since the year of 2022. So without further delay, let's dive into the topic of concern. Starting off, Ukraine, as we discussed earlier on our channel, is the second largest country in Europe, which is home to an impressive range of natural landscapes, including vast grasslands and ancient evergreen forests that play a crucial role in combating climate change by acting as effective carbon sinks while also serving as vital habitats for a wide variety of species, helping to preserve biodiversity and support the region's ecological balance. Although this has long been the reality, the transformation Ukraine has undergone in the past 3 years since the war began and rapidly escalated has been profound. In just 3 years, countless cities have been reduced to rubble, millions of families displaced, and countless lives shattered. Yet, amid the devastation, one truth remains clear. Ukraine has demonstrated extraordinary courage in the face of unrelenting aggression. The spirit of the Ukrainian people has not only endured, it has grown stronger. Their determination to defend their sovereignty has never wavered. While the Kremlin continues to label this invasion a special military operation, the world sees it for what it truly is: an illegal, unprovoked war against a free and democratic nation. This war is not about NATO expansion or protecting Russian-speaking populations. It is about Ukraine's decision to build a future independent of Moscow's control. It is about a sovereign country choosing its own path towards democracy, towards Europe, and towards the West. Understanding Russia's true objectives and why Ukraine is resisting so fiercely is essential if we hope to bring this war to an end and prevent such aggression from being repeated elsewhere. Let's start with the state of diplomacy. Peace talks between Russia and Ukraine have repeatedly stalled. In recent rounds, both sides submitted proposals, but as President Putin himself admitted, the positions remain absolutely contradictory. Ukraine continues to stand firm on international law, demanding the withdrawal of Russian troops, the restoration of its full territorial integrity, and accountability for war crimes. Russia, meanwhile, insists on Ukraine ceding more territory and severing its defense ties with the West, condition that would effectively strip Ukraine of its independence. No democratic nation can or should accept such terms. One of the more revealing aspects of this war is the way Russia has chosen to escalate without officially declaring war. A formal declaration would allow for full-scale mobilization, an action fraught with domestic risk. When Russia initiated partial mobilization in 2022, tens of thousands of Russians took to the streets in protest. Many fled the country to avoid conscription. That public backlash reveals something critical. While the Kremlin controls the institutions of state, it cannot fully control the public's response when the human cost of war becomes personal. Despite avoiding full mobilization, Russia has massively ramped up its war effort. In 2025, defense spending has climbed to 6.3% of GDP, over $170 billion. Arms production has surged. Missile output has increased dramatically. Drone factories are running around the clock, and military industrial facilities operate in shifts. But for all the hardware, one challenge persists: manpower. Russian forces continue to suffer heavy casualties, thousands each week by some estimates, and without another draft, experts warn the Kremlin's current strategy may be unsustainable beyond mid-2026. Why then is Putin pushing so hard? Because Ukraine represents a threat not militarily but ideologically. Since 2014, Ukraine has embraced democratic reform, tackled corruption, and strengthened ties with the European Union and NATO. For Putin, a free and successful Ukraine presents a dangerous example. It shows the Russian people that life outside authoritarianism is not only possible but preferable. That is the true threat to his regime. This fear is reflected in Russia's demands. The Kremlin insists that Ukraine permanently abandon NATO ambitions, prohibit Western weapons on its soil, and that NATO roll back its presence to pre-1997 levels. But these are not reasonable security concerns. They are ultimatums designed to keep Ukraine vulnerable and within Russia's geopolitical orbit. Accepting them would mean denying Ukraine the right to make its own foreign policy choices, a right every sovereign state must have. Ukraine has refused to concede, and rightly so. On the economic front, Russia is under immense pressure. Sanctions have battered its economy. Key energy exports are under threat. Foreign investment has dried up. Inflation is rising, and the ruble continues to lose value. Yet, the Kremlin presses on, pouring vast sums into the war effort, not because it is economically rational, but because the political cost of backing down is, in Putin's view, even greater. But that calculus is short-sighted. Every month this war drags on, Russia's future dims further. Ukraine, meanwhile, has shown extraordinary resilience despite constant bombardment and occupation. Its economy continues to function, its government remains stable, and its people continue to fight, not only for land but for freedom. Ukraine's resistance has been supported by an unprecedented international coalition. Western nations have provided military assistance, financial support, and diplomatic solidarity because they understand what's at stake. If Ukraine falls, it sets a dangerous precedent that borders can be changed by force, and democracies are expendable when threatened by authoritarian regimes. Cracks are also beginning to show within Russia. The once reliable Russian Orthodox Church is growing uneasy, especially among its Ukrainian faithful. Sanctioned oligarchs are frustrated by mounting losses, and even within the Kremlin there are rumblings of discontent between loyalists, hardliners, and security hawks, urging further escalation. Yet the Kremlin remains stuck, unable to achieve a decisive victory, unwilling to compromise, and wary of mobilizing the broader population. So what happens next? Russia may attempt to escalate further, hoping to grind down Ukraine's resistance and wear down Western resolve through sheer attrition. Or it may try to impose a so-called frozen conflict, seeking to legitimize its territorial gains without bearing the full cost of occupation. But Ukraine's government and its people have made their position unambiguous. They will not accept partial sovereignty. They will not legitimize occupation, and they will not settle for anything less than full independence and the complete restoration of their internationally recognized borders. Their resistance is not temporary, it is foundational, and it reflects a national consensus that Ukraine's freedom is non-negotiable. In many ways, this war has laid bare the deeper struggle of the 21st century between democracy and authoritarianism, between rule of law and rule by force. Ukraine is not just defending itself, it's defending a principle that sovereign nations have the right to determine their own futures, that borders matter, and that aggression cannot be rewarded. To stand with Ukraine is to stand with those principles. It means continuing military and humanitarian aid. It means staying unified on sanctions. It means countering propaganda with truth and authoritarianism with solidarity. The cost of inaction or indifference would be far greater than any aid package. This war will not end easily, but Ukraine's resolve has given the world a powerful example of resistance, of dignity, and of democratic courage. As the international community, our task is to ensure that courage is not in vain, because Ukraine's fight is not only about its future, it's about us too. Thank you.